Morning, Fractal Effects team. Before we get started, make sure you read the disclosure in the footer section of fractaleffects.com, or you can check it out in the description of our YouTube channel. If you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. So we have a consolidating market right now. We've had a manipulation move to the upside on both US 30 and NAS. This is actually the first fair value gap that NAS is, or is it? Hold on, let's zoom in. Look like it, sorry, that was actually the EMA. Yeah, no fair value gap out of NAS yet. And US 30 is starting to push past the first presented fair value gap. So it just took out these highs. If it lays down this fair value gap, there's a potential chance everything could be moving up. And then US 500 had a manipulation move to the downside. And again, no first presented fair value gap yet. We do have a small liquidity void in here, which I'm not the biggest fan of. So just waiting for more confluence. We're close to getting a bearish confirmation here. So if we get a bearish confirmation on NAS with a fair value gap, because we need a foothold to climb this mountain down. A lot of mixed signals right now. You're going to need more confluence. I want at least one more of these to match up right now, because right now we're pushing past these zones and we're pushing down here, and US 500 is kind of stuck in the middle. US 500 right now wants to go up. NAS and US 30, as far as the confluence go, want to push down, but let's see. 41 seconds left. Looks like this fair value gap is going to stay open. So now this becomes an area of interest. There's our first presented fair value gap. Because once this fair value gap is laid down on US 30, then we'll see which one it wants to respect. Does it want to use that one up, or does it want to actually close up here and then rip back down? NAS above the DSD high could actually bounce off this and give us a double break. The fact that it hasn't given us a bearish confirmation or a first presented fair value gap makes me want to potentially look for a double break to the upside. But again, there's not enough confluence here. The beautiful thing about this strategy is you don't jump in until you see all the confluence, until everything is checked off. Capital preservation, that's our first priority. And that's what this helps with. So still waiting, trying to see what the next move is going to be. There was no news yesterday. No high impact news driver today. So far right now, US 500 and US 30 are giving signs that they want to push up. but still no first presented fair value gap. I don't like using liquidity voids. This one looks like it's ripping through. But it hasn't tapped any of these yet. This gives us a double break. At least that's a sign that they all want to push up. Then I'll look for an entry on US 500 because it's the most cleanest setup right now. We have a manipulation move to the downside into a 4-hour fair value gap, into a blue zone. So if this double breaks, that's a good sign they all want to push up, but I want to see a first presented fair value gap on the 5M. That's going to be my foothold to climb up. But we don't make a single move until we get that. When you're looking for divergence, you want at least two of these indices to be going in the same direction. So right now, NAS and US 30 are both signaling down, and US 500 is signaling up. So as soon as we get a double break, then at least we have two signaling up, which fits more in alignment with the story that these indices are trying to tell us. But until that happens, until we get a double break, just got to sit on our hands. Just be patient. When you see this much consolidation, honestly, by 10:30, if I see this much consolidation, I usually don't take a trade setup. And it's because there was no high impact news driver yesterday and no high impact news driver today. What happens on days like that? The market likes to revert back to fair value, which is usually the NDOG, the NWOG, or true day open. They're all signaled and all marked off here. There's your NDOG, new day opening gap. I believe the NWOG is below, new week opening gap. Then true day open, I think, is somewhere down there. I got a lot of boxes painted on here. NAS still continuing to push down. The reason we have all three indices up is because one of these, usually on a good day, one of these will give you the perfect setup. Even if it looks like two are going up, there's still only one that will usually hit its first presented fair value gap, give you the perfect setup on the 1 minute. Everything looks perfect. And that's what we wait for. And when we don't get that in our window of opportunity, that's it. You just call it. But when you do, that's when you feel confident enough to go your full lot size. So that's the other thing to remember. Not every trade is equal. You only want to do full lot size, whatever that might be for you, 1% of your account with that 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. But you only want to do your full lot when everything is in alignment, when you hit your first presented fair value gap. If you hit a secondary fair value gap or you get a shallow retracement, then you go half. And the higher that fair value gap goes up, I would avoid it. But for people who still want to jump in, then again, you keep decreasing your lot size the higher that fair value gap is hit. So we got a bearish confirmation on NAS with a break to the upside. So now I cannot buy this. Even if I get a double break to the upside, I cannot buy NAS. So this has been crossed off. We're only using NAS as confluence now. Let's see, this is why we wait. Now, if US 500 gives us a double break to the downside, that means all three indices are technically signaling bearish. Power of three here possibly. Consolidation, manipulation up, and then distribution down. Remember, we're at all-time highs. It could easily just drop from here. Again, just remain patient. We'll continue to watch NAS. Again, bearish confirmation. What happens after that? We get a retracement back to our 20 EMA, which we've already tapped. So it could use just whatever first fair value gap that's created. The other thing is it's not created a single fair value gap during this consolidation. Even though there's days we avoid, I encourage you guys to actually jump in just to do, like, don't go in with any trades. Jump in and see how well you understand the market translator. See how well you understand the algorithm. Can you read it? Because even on chaotic days, it still does what it does. It's not wrong. It's how you interpret the information. Are you able to understand the higher time frame and the lower time frame and match it up perfectly? So even on days, for example, we don't trade Bitcoin, but we'll get up Saturdays, we'll do a group, and we'll usually see if the market translator is accurate. For example, this weekend it was, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday was past the window of opportunity, but we still marked it up. We set our alerts to see if it crossed the finish line, and it did. Saturday, it was actually pretty quick and clean. But I personally don't trade Bitcoin. Doesn't mean I can't practice it every single day. So a lot of mixed signals right now. US 30 still stuck right here, but pushing up. US 500 pushing down. No real setup. NAS doesn't want to let anybody in. It has not left a single fair value gap. Let's zoom in as this one here. Sometimes you got to go deep in and take a look. There you go. There's one that's forming. We got 3 minutes, 50 seconds left. Let's see if this one stays open. It could just use this, but we're also at the DSD high. Still a whole bunch of nothing. Still waiting for more confirmation. So NAS filled in that one fair value gap that was being created. So NAS is just going to be difficult today. Doesn't look like it wants to let anybody in. We're still getting a lot of bounce here from US 500. US 30 still near the top. Right now my best play is still, I'd like to see US 30 take the double break and then use the first presented fair value gap that NAS creates. US 500 creates to push it back up, at least into this fair value gap. That's the first presented fair value gap that never got tapped. So now I cannot buy this market even if I get a double break because we got a bearish confirmation. And you got to prepare yourself for days like this. Remember, day trading is not everyday trading. I know we almost say that during every single session, but it's true. People forget that. People think that just because you wake up on a morning and you dedicate about an hour or 2 hours that you're owed something, that you can't leave unless you get something. That's not how you got to look at it. Remember, this is not like any other job. You really only need one successful trade setup a week. 2 would be awesome. 1 to 3 risk to reward. Now you're talking about potentially 3 to 6% a week gain on your account, right? That's 12 to 24%. That's how you got to look at it. So if you're only looking for one successful trade setup per week, then you can wait for it. Wait for the perfect opportunity. You're only working 2 hours a day. And it's not even every single day. So it's only 8 to 10 hours for the whole week. Like if that doesn't keep you patient, I don't know what will. Slowly starting to get a setup here. Let's see if we get, again, I'm looking for a double break on US 30. That's the dealer revealing their hand. That lets me know that this indice wants to push up as well. Then we have 2 that are in alignment. And I'll wait for the first presented fair value gap and take this take out these highs. Or depending on where we get it, maybe just into this fair value gap. But I need a foothold. Without a foothold, you cannot climb a mountain. I need a 5-minute fair value gap. Three minutes left. Let's see if we get one. Two minutes, 25 seconds left. One minute, 18 seconds. I'm hoping this fair value gap stays open. $55 seconds. US 30 making its way back down to that fair value gap here. Let's see if it cuts through, because this is the last stronghold for a bullish argument on US 30. Okay, so we have this fair value gap now. This is pretty much what will decide if we're going up or down. We'll see the market come back, tap it, and then we'll see on the 1 minute if it gives us any kind of a entry. So both US 30 and US 500 coming back down to this fair value gap, to their first presented fair value gap here. Let's see. First things first, after it hits it, I want to see an immediate rebalance, an engulfing candle. Then we'll drop down to the 1 minute time frame. Let me just zoom in here, make sure we painted it properly. By 11 o'clock, if you have not gotten a double break in any direction on any indice, that's a clear-cut sign that we might have consolidation all day long, or it's a clear-cut sign that they don't want you to enter, that these moves are going to be relatively fast when they do set up. That's the other reason we avoid it. Okay, so we hit it. I want to see an immediate rebalance, and then we'll drop down to lower time frame. Otherwise, if it just cuts right through, it could be heading for the double break. Let's see if it respects it or violates it. Remember, you need at least 2 candles to print in order to see if it's being respected or violated. Because you can have this candle that cuts all the way through, and then the next one immediately rebalances it and pushes us back into the range. That is a deep, deep cut, though. Let's see. And right now, NAS is the only one that gave us a bearish confirmation. But NAS also never gave us any fair value gaps. So there is no foothold entry. But none of them have given us a double break to the upside. And NAS just gave us a bearish confirmation. So again, majority of the bias is still bearish. One minute from 11. So let's see if this next candle balances it out and engulfs it. Three minutes left. Let's see if we get that engulfing candle. Just want to mark off the first presented fair value gap on the 1M. Now it's making a push up as well. 1 minute 51 seconds left. Remember, this late in the game, I want all my points of confluence met. I want this fair value gap to be hit. Now let's see if it respects this. I want to see the same setup. But if it takes out this low, then this is an invalid fair value gap. Just to reiterate, this is not a trade setup that I would take. Nothing about this looks clean or pretty, and majority of the bias is still bearish. I would pass on this. We're here with you guys now. Let's just walk through this just to see what it would look like. I like to see it hit this fair value gap. They're all on top of each other here. 5 minute, 1 minute, but let's see. And if it takes off without us, it takes off without us. Just that kind of a day. Nas didn't want to let us in. Now if US 500 takes off, US 500 is the only valid setup. But this is the reason why I wouldn't be trading today. It's too much of this. Again, this is the only area that I'd be interested. I don't care about these shallow retracements. It's especially after a day like today. We're green across the board right now, but too much consolidation. So we're back at this fair value gap now. Let's see if it respects it. If we get a close above here. Meanwhile, at the same time, I'm keeping an eye on US 30. And if we take out this low, you're going to have to start the whole process over again. This is why we have all three of them up. Look at NAS, just an immediate rebalance here. If we cross this, we'll most likely conclude our session. Still waiting, still seeing. Could just bounce up. There you go. So we've crossed it. Then we're going to have to start the whole thing all over again. That 1 minute is no longer valid. So again, we'll conclude the session there. Please turn on your notifications. Hit the subscribe button so you know when we're live. We're live Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays right now, 10:30 Eastern Standard. Please check us out on fractaleffects.com. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Stay out of this market. Look at all this consolidation. Have a good one, guys.